The Match Ball.
Hello, welcome to the show. We are live streaming for our TSB Plus members. The show is brought to you by Levi Solicitors. You can get a 10% discount on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. And you can check out our brand new show, the Phil Hay Monday Club, where you can find an even bigger discount, which is exclusive to that show.
Phil insisted upon it.
Yeah, we don't even mention what the code is. I think we're not allowed, are we? The points get
Not
taken
elsewhere.
back off us
Not
tonight
elsewhere.
if that happens.
You're going to have to go to the club to find out. But on today's match ball, I am Florence Elson, and I'm joined by Michael Normanton and Moscow White. Daniel
Who's out of
Chapman.
focus? I'm just going to fix him.
Who, me?
Talk amongst yourself.
They want speed.
It's just the whole night's just a happy blur. That's the thing, isn't it? I have. I don't think I've felt this good after a Leeds United football game for ages. When did that last happen? When did you last feel good after a Leeds game?
That's a tough question.
We've been awful for so
There we go.
long.
You're in focus.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good for most of the second half, I have to say. I think I felt my worst when Bamford put a shot wide, and I was like, oh, God, we are never going to finish.
Did you like Somerville's big finish?
Did you notice what happened after that? Nonso ran straight on to take the piss of him. It was brilliant. At full time, he runs straight across to him, and he's going, you fucking missed, which was great. I enjoyed that.
It did feel like they were all having a good time. Apart from maybe Luke Haley. But even Luke Haley was having a great time. Everybody was just having a nice, fun, random time. And we won.
I will say Luke Ayling doesn't give up, does he?
He does not.
He does. He made mistakes. The first half hour was fairly disastrous from him, truth be told. But, you know,
He
kept going. And I think he did have some good moments. By the end of the first half, he'd redeemed himself. He made a few good tackles, and he'd kind of got on top of it a bit.
He threw in a Cruyff turn before half-time. I was like, this is so brave for a player who's playing so badly.
I think that's what I mean about he doesn't give up. Like, it'd be very easy to just go, right, I'm having a bad game, just belt it down the line. Just kick it as far as you can every time you get it. But he didn't.
Do you know who I think should give up?
John Josh Shelvey.
Yes, and...
Pat Bamford.
No! Pat was fine. You're a centre forward. How did you think Pat Bamford played tonight?
I thought he gave it his all, but it just didn't come off for him, did it?
He was really...
Couldn't sort his feet out and couldn't sort his brain out.
He was very shift-like. Those Steve Morrison vibes. Just the shift, but he can't finish. And he did work his socks off and get kind of knocked around. Shooting, not so much. And he was... there were crosses going in the box in the first half that he wasn't attacking, and the South Stand were getting like a bit on his back, and I was starting to worry like maybe he's got this weird injury that he can run but he can't jump. But I think it all turned out quite well in the end because second half just running away with the ball. Didn't matter if he put it in the net.
I think there was a bit on, it was just before I went off, about 85, 87 minutes where he was running with the ball and he basically, I'm sure he received it on the edge of the box and he ran back to the halfway line trying to control it. It was reminiscent of Becchio at his finest. He was just chasing after it and then eventually he just fell over. I think his legs were just so tired. There was nothing. I think he was probably hoping they would do more than they did in trying to control the ball. But you know, when you're very, very tired and like you lift your leg and it just doesn't go because you've done everything. But that must be the longest Pat Bamford has played for a fair while, I would say.
Yeah, I got the feeling, although Rodrigo came on, well, he finished, he played until stoppage time, didn't he? And it felt like he'd been told just to, like, maybe it's you're not playing on Sunday. Do it all now, beat these, try and score if you can, but just do whatever and then we'll worry about the rest. Someone else can do it on Sunday.
Who else should give up, did you say? I've forgotten that already.
John Joe Shelvey and just all the million Nottingham Forest players, their manager, probably their ownership, all the fans. I think they should just give up.
They are shit.
Awful.
I was really struck by how bad they were. And they brought loads of players on, and normally you think, something will change here. It just seemed to distract them, if anything. They felt like they lost sight of what they were trying to do. Which they brought John... I mean, I know I'm an advocate of kicking the ball hard, but they did literally bring John Joe Shelvey on to just twat the ball really, really far. It seemed like he would kick it the furthest. So they were like, get him on and just get him to hit ball over the top after ball over the top, which we dealt with pretty well.
My entire assessment of Nottingham Forest as a team and a football club is that even their long throws are short. I don't think I've seen a set of worse long throws since Rafinha was trying last year. It was just awful. Every single, and they were so bad that Rodrigo was flicking them into our 6-yard box just to give them a chance.
It was a weird long throw. He didn't have any run up, did he?
And no distance.
A complete standing start for a
He
long
could
throw.
barely reach the penalty area. The whole point, get it in the mixer, put Meslier under pressure. Like, if you can get it over the 18-yard line to start with. Ask us a question, Flora. Come on.
What did you think about the Forest fans? Because you just listed a great number of people who should retire and never be seen again. But according to the Forest travelling fans, Steve Cooper is not one of them.
I was quite surprised by that because they really love singing his name. And the main reason not to sing his name is because if you do, he's going to turn and look at you. And that's the last thing you want from Steve Cooper. I wonder if it's just because Cooper is technically a good manager and they do seem like the owner, who is mad, does seem on the verge of sacking him. So maybe they're all like, oh, no, we'll be Steve Cooper. We'll sing his name so he won't get sacked. But, I mean, if you like that team, fine. If you enjoyed that tonight, Nottingham Forest fans, because they were, even when we went a goal behind, I wasn't worried because they just looked so bad and we'd started so well. It was all right, Ayling's fucked up, they've scored, fine. Let's just win the game anyway. And for some reason, I never got worried about that particularly. Even in the second half, when their number 9, who they brought on, who must be somebody. I mean, they paid 20 million for him, gave him the number 9 shirt, running through on goal, messes it up. Not a problem.
Or did Firpo do brilliantly?
Bit of both.
I think it was Firpo, wasn't it?
I think it was a combination of him and the big sexy pirate Aswas. Were
Yeah.
running back, who was also good. They were all good.
Junior Firpo.
Outstanding.
Jesus Christ. Who saw this coming? I mean, brilliant. Genuinely a really good performance. He did one big loopy clearance, went back into his own box.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bit unexpected. But generally speaking, just really good all of a sudden. People singing his name, and not in a sarcastic way.
He was loving it. At the end, he was really enjoying the attention that he was getting.
I quite enjoyed at the end marching on together as well. We've been favouring I Predict a Riot.
Sick of the Chiefs.
Well, no, I think it's got a place, but I feel like
Which is not Elland Road.
I feel like it was a good night for a classic.
Yeah.
And then they went with Ruby after that, didn't they? As opposed to I Predict a Riot.
Yeah, we've got to keep the PRS up.
And I liked it full time. I couldn't see Gracia.
I spotted
particularly.
him briefly. I couldn't see him. I was confused because it looked like it wasn't Scoobs. It must have been somebody else. I thought Scoobs was having like a big hug, like a cuddle and a chat with Andre Ayew. I was trying to work out how they would ever possibly have known each other. But it was somebody else. And then I just caught Gracia going down the tunnel and he just did a little gone.
But good.
Not milking a thing.
I like that about him.
Nyonto and Somerville, after the piss taking over the miss, nearly missed us on the celebrations as well. They were walking off towards the tunnel with their arms around each other. And then I think they realised that everybody else was off on a lap of honour and they were like, oh, that looks like fun. Should we go and do that now? So they continued their kind of 3-legged race that they were having with themselves, just arm in arm going around the pitch. So that was good. Mark Rocker did not make a beeline to knock Brennan Johnson out, but I think he wanted to. That was an admirable restraint.
I thought Rocker had possibly his best game for us in that second half. He did what I actually wanted him to do, which was just get it by the scruff of the neck and sort of dictate a game. I felt like he actually had a go at that. And McKennie was decent as well, I thought, in midfield. So that bit worked.
Yeah, he did. Rocker towards the end, Forrest had a corner, and he went round sort of every Leeds player and was like high-fiving them and shouting at their faces and then turning to the crowd and getting them going as well. Like, fucking hell, he's actually involved, which has always been the thing, is he's got this lovely left foot, but he never really does much or anything that you kind of notice. And then there he was actually doing everything, and they're all shouting at each other and just all the good stuff that makes you think we're going to win a game of football because Luis Sinisterra is brilliant.
In the comments, Tom Dixon has said Strauch is now the big sexy plasterer. just looks like a normal man. Bless him. If he's paid more than, like, I know he's a footballer, so he will have paid a fortune for that haircut, but it's a very basic haircut, isn't it? I say as a man with a very basic haircut. But no, Sinistera was great. I feel like he looked like the player from the start of the season again, because I feel like it's been so long since he's been fit and able to play that we forget that he does stuff like that. And he threatened to do that pretty much constantly at the start of the season, didn't he? It was in the period where we thought, well, we don't look like we're going to patiently create chances, but we could just give it to Sinistera and let him do it.
How was he from? Were you in East Upper?
Yep.
How was he from there?
He was
Because the
very
first
small.
half was the best.
I enjoyed his goal,
Mm-hmm.
naturally. And he's one of these players where you can kind of see him thinking with the way that he moves. And I was like watching him like shimmy this way, and he almost took a shot and then he was like, nope, nudged it. And then he was like, whew. And he obviously picked the perfect moment. So well done to him. But yeah.
That was the
It
beauty
was-
of that goal. He beat that guy twice.
Yeah.
And he probably didn't need to, but he just did anyway,
Why
just to
not?
make it better.
Let's have a laugh.
Yeah, I've not seen it back yet, that one, but it looked good. Right? It looked very Sinistera-ish as to it's just what we missed, I think, with him not in the team, because I know Nonto's a different type of player, isn't he? I think, but he's still very good. So we can have more than one good player. I feel like we've almost forgotten that.
Whoa,
Because Sinistera was our
Now,
good
now.
player at the start of the season, and then Nonto was our good player.
Well, did he play tonight?
No, he didn't.
No, so maybe we can't have them both. Take it in
And Jack
turns.
Harrison was good as well. He's another good player we're now allowed to have, and
Can
looking like his old self.
Did you cash out?
Yeah, my pre-match bet. You'd be proud of me for this. This is not my usual betting on us to lose. Do you know what my pre-match bet was?
Did you bet on us to win?
Jack Harrison hat-trick.
Really?
325 to 1.
Well, I was about to say few people showed faith in him when he was going through the bad patch recently, but I think you've won. As a show of faith in Jack Harrison, that's probably
Yeah.
up there, isn't it? His own mother has probably never placed a bet like that.
No, he was great though, was Harrison today. Just relentless. Which I think that's when he's at his best, is Harrison, when he's just an absolute pest to play against. Just in terms of when he's attacking, when he's defending, just not stopping. Very good at that.
And dare I say as well, I think because he was playing so well, it made Luke Ayling's life a little bit more difficult because he had to do more to go and help him. Because we were always attacking on that side, and he just brought the worst out of Ayling. It's like, have I got to try and pass to him? Can't we just put it over there? With Firpo's playing really well, and he can just like hang out with Sinistera and it'll be fine. I've got to help. Fucking Harrison's having a worldie, and I've got to help him. I think it was the last thing Ayling wanted was everything to be good on the right wing.
Just wanted a quiet night to himself.
And there was a moment when he messed up. The ball rolled out of Ayling's control into Gracia's grasp, and it was like I've never like the attempts to kind of just every little bit of like patting his head, patting his bum, patting his everything's like, don't worry about it, Luke. I still believe in you. Just trying to get him going again. And it was shortly after that he did his little back heel, and then McKennie did a back heel as well. We started just taking the piss in their corner.
McKennie did a very pleasingly big tackle as well at one point in the second half,
Yeah.
which we failed to. It felt like that second half, I was just waiting for us to score. It felt like we did pretty well to a point, but it's like we were trying not to score sometimes. It's like we've carved out a really good opportunity, but then the final ball was wayward, or it went to Pat Bamford. How did Bamford end up with that really good chance?
Oh, because two of their players ran into each other.
I can't remember what happened. I just remember seeing, I think I just
Yeah.
looked up and Bamford was in front of goal.
Two of their defenders, I think Forest were pretty much just playing out from the back, and there was a high ball, and two of their defenders both tried to headed each other, and then Pat Bamford's just standing in the penalty area and goes, shall I just have this ball then? But then he went with his he just went with his left foot instead of cutting in. What would you have done in that situation as a
Hit it really
centre
hard.
forward?
Right into the net. Straight in the net.
I feel like he had a few chances like that, no?
Yeah.
A few opportunities.
There was one first half where it went across him and he looked like he had a bit of a swing and a miss, or didn't get much on it, and it went
I've got
out to the left.
imagine it in my mind of him doing this on the ground, slapping the ground. Well, that may just be from my long-term memory, to be fair. But yeah, in terms of the XG, we had 1.94 for Leeds, 0.79 for Nottingham Forest. So we both outplayed ourselves.
I'm amazed they got anywhere.
Yeah, I don't remember them having any chances other than the one they scored.
God, they're bad. That was the main concern, was that we would just not. I mean, I suppose we've already lost to them this season, so to lose to them twice would have been. I don't necessarily buy into that thing that if we lost tonight, we would deserve to be relegated. But losing to that lot twice would have been really pushing the avant-garde a little bit too far.
They're definitely the worst team I think I've seen us play this season.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking at half-time. I was like, even if we don't hold out this win, I'm just pleased that these people exist.
They were really giving us a chance, like every opportunity we needed. Even so, they've signed. What's Keylor Navas's track record? Who's he played for? He's played for big teams.
Real
and stuff,
Madrid.
hasn't he? Yeah,
Primarily PSG. He's on loan from now,
and he won everything.
He's won. He must have won. I think he was the man. He must be good because he kept Kiko Casilla out of that Real Madrid team, and we know what a fine goalkeeper he is.
So our first goal.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's a decent shot.
I feel like I've remembered now, because that was so obscured by what Sinistera did and the sort of tension of the rest of the game. I was struggling to recall it. But actually, we should have sponsored that goal, because it was about 8 square balls across the penalty area that Forest were just not doing anything about. Square ball, square ball, square ball. 10% off Levi's Solicitors, the big 3. What are they?
They're Will's Probate and Conveyancing.
So all the players were just discussing that. And then, is it Rocker had the shot?
Yeah.
And the best goalkeeper in the world who's come to save Nottingham Forest on loan, just was off. It's a terrible
He
attempt
should have
at
pushed
saving.
it out, no?
He didn't even, and then it just dropped into the penalty area in front of Harrison, and then he's running towards the ball, and you think, well, why aren't any of the Forest defenders moving either? They're so bad. That big Philippe guy with the like the tall Luke Ayling that they've got at the back. Atletico Madrid player, £20 million. Awful. Just a bad footballer.
They do seem to have. I think Gibbs White is quite good. Johnson is good,
And they weren't tonight.
and other than that, I wouldn't want any of their players.
No. And they've got so many of them. Like, how could they have bought?
They have got a lot of
How
players.
can they have bought like 45 players, and those are the best they could find to put on the pitch tonight?
I think you maybe forget who's good. It's like at the start. If you start a champ manager game and you sign like 30 players and then you get halfway through a season and you're like, oh fuck, I forgot I'd got, because it's put someone in the reserves without telling you and you just forget about them.
It's like
It must be a bit like that around there.
It's like the lost champ man game that we keep going back to, where we've got Wayne Rooney and Ronaldo in the youth team. Like, should we give them a go? Nah,
Brett Almirod's playing instead.
Yeah, Ibrahimovic just isn't ready.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? I had something. Oh, about Navas. Yeah, I don't know if it was the ghost of Rahubka, because John Joe Shelvey, a Tuesday night at Ellen Road, it's just a night for spilling shots. I think Shelvey scored against us last year as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's made a career.
Got some
of it.
horrible scar tissue, just like twitching when I see John Joe Shelvey at Ellen Road. Just awful memories. But shit tonight.
Imagine turning up to training every day and it's him and Steve Cooper chatting. Just turn around and go on, wouldn't you? Oh, you've got 40 other players. You don't need me here.
Steve Cooper freshly out of that headlock, as we've discussed before. Just has that look about him, like he's confused. I'm glad he didn't, because it was him, wasn't it, when he was at Swansea and he managed to completely shit out a win or a draw and was like, yeah, always
Exactly
part of the plan.
how we planned it.
Always part of the plan. That you think, was it fuck?
They scored in the 4th minute of injury time to equalise after being dreadful all game. It's like, yeah, we planned that against Bielsa's Leeds. So he's had this coming. And I don't know, have we had this coming? Oh, do we deserve this?
Yeah,
Why?
because we've watched some awful shit this year, and that was a bit. We're just very normal now, aren't we? I feel like that's weird to watch after Bielsa into Marsh, who were abnormal in different ways, but like we just do normal stuff now. I noticed at the end of the first half there was a bit just before we scored where we were just playing the ball across the pitch, like waiting for something to happen. But we didn't do that at all earlier in the season. It was because it was not allowed, I think, under Marsh. It was if there's nothing on, just knock it forward, down the middle, down the middle, down the middle, and just lost the ball all the time. But as it was, we just went, okay, Strauch out to Firpo, out to Sinistera, nothing on, back to Rocker, back to Firpo, back to Koch, back to Meslier, out wide to Ayling, just knocking it about.
Straight to them.
It's fine.
The two biggest,
Sorry, Luke,
biggest changes our width and the fact that we can just turn around and pass to one of our players.
It's a better option to pass backwards to one of your own players than forwards to nobody. I think it seems to be the main difference.
Are you listening, Jesse? It was so simple. You could have done this.
I mean, he could have done this, and we could have beaten Forest playing his way, because we probably should have done it at their place. In the first half, anyway, we had loads of chances, didn't we? But we didn't.
The other thing I've noticed, ask me what the other thing I've noticed about Gracia is.
What's the other thing that you've noticed about Gracia?
That's a good question.
Yeah. How did you know? I don't know if other managers do this, but I can't remember seeing it before. He's giving our free kick signals.
Was he?
That's one of them. Arms out wide. Did you spot any others? No. This is one, the adamant.
Nice.
So he's yelling.
That's a West Ham thing, isn't it?
He's yelling at Mark Rocker, and he's doing this and showing other players do that, and then you see whoever's on the free kick then goes, they do the signal. So he is doing that. Whereas,
Free Donald Trump. That is. It's a shackled thing.
The handcuffs. Yeah, he's putting a big cross above his chest.
Andrew Tate is innocent. I heard he said.
But it's
I really like it when players do signals at set pieces, because it's like, oh my God, they've got a secret.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is.
And some of those symbols were new as well. Like they weren't, because earlier in the season it was Brendan and Jackie just patting their heads every single time, and then just not doing anything with it. Whereas now you've got Gracia starting the mystery, and there was one that was this, like waving his hands as if he was like signalling to a boat, and then all the players start doing that, and you're like, and it's just, maybe I am being harsh to the former coach, but it just feels like they know what they're doing now.
Harry is waving, not drowning, as Jesse was. I did crack the code for the set pieces earlier in the season. Yeah, and they all meant headed out of the near post, unfortunately. Him and Jackie and Brendan would get together in a little hug, and they'd be like, right, what should we do? What should we do? But you put both arms in the air and then head it out of the near post.
That is the one downside to those elaborate routines that you've got this big mystery about, is you do look like a right idiot. It just comes to nothing.
We mixed it up a bit earlier in the season. There was definitely one game where we put one to the back post and McKennie had a shot. And there was been...
well, it wasn't earlier in the season. That was last week.
Earlier in the season.
Well, he wasn't here earlier in the season, you madhead.
Whenever it was. I don't know. This season's gone on for
Aronson was pretty good
fucking
tonight.
long.
I quite enjoyed him scampering about. I still feel like nobody knows what to do with him. Like they can't quite pass to him. They don't know where he's going to be, even though he's been here for ages. But some hardcore scampering, and I like a scamperer. So I'm pretty happy with that. I don't have a problem with any of them. Ayling could have scored an own goal, I'd still be like, yeah, great.
I didn't think anyone played badly, potentially, other than Ayling. Although, do you know, weirdly, I know these things are done on weird algorithms, but Ayling 7.9 according to FOTMob.
Is he player of the match?
No, Jack Harrison is, which seems fair enough.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Although
Bamford
has been hard, but done by.
I know Melia, our worst player according to that, but it's because he didn't have any saves to make, I guess.
He should have had some just players shooting.
Did he make any saves?
Didn't have to.
He made a big performance of doing a big punch, I think, on the free kick.
I enjoyed it out for it, didn't he?
Yeah.
I enjoyed him heading it into the south stand as well after it had already gone out of play to waste a bit of time.
Yeah.
He just followed it and went, fuck it. Off it goes.
That was all good as well. Big round of applause too for Junior Firpo's rib injury in stoppage time, just right on the edge of the pitch.
Yeah,
that
right
upset.
by the Forest fans.
Yep.
I thought he may have been felled by a pound coin at that point or something, but was it just the disgraceful challenge on him?
Oh yeah, it was brutal assault, and then that's had Brennan Johnson and Mark Rocker. Rocker was basically pointing down the tunnel as if they're going to be in the car park afterwards. Probably maybe like just talking about cars stuff. It's like, oh, mine's got a pretty big engine. Do you want to see it? And it's like, oh, cool. So they're going to do that afterwards. So maybe rev the engines.
Do you know what I'm going to do?
What?
Look at a league table.
Oh,
because
this is it.
We're mid-table. 13th, for God's sake.
Because I had a table, not a little telly, so there's no need to ring any bells. I was on the gantry. But I had my phone on with alerts for the games, which only, obviously, Elland Road's Wi-Fi only gave me limited access. But in the first half, when it was 1-1, that's when Brighton and Villa both started beating Bournemouth and Leicester And I just had that feeling, just win. Yeah. Just win now. They're losing. We're drawing. We've been a goal down. That was a bit silly. How about we just win? And although Leicester equalised, Dewsbury Hall, in a great blow to the National Trust and their stately homes, got sent off. So he's a good player who's missing for them. And they lost the game. And Bournemouth conceded another one. So they lost 2-0. So it's been perfect.
Yeah, it looked like, looking at the stats, it looks like Leicester probably deserves to lose that as well.
Good.
Half a goal in the XG, 35% possession. Shit. Sack the current manager. Who's in charge, actually?
Don't know.
Today.
Emil Heskey.
Good shout.
With Neil Lennon assisting. And maybe Robbie Savage has been called back.
Oh, yeah. Horrible, yeah.
Well, ask me what else was perfect about tonight.
What else was perfect about tonight?
There was a goal alert that Chelsea had taken the lead over Liverpool, and then it was ruled out by VAR. And I just felt that was good.
That is good.
Not that I have any pleasure in Liverpool gaining a 0-0 draw against the mighty Chelsea, but I just felt like they haven't got any better from sacking Graham Potter. But then for a moment, they thought they had.
0-0's a great result there. That pleases no one. That's it, which is more or less all I look for in football.
It pleases me.
I want no one happy. So good.
Was there anything else that was perfect about the night?
The warmth of the air.
Steamy evening. I wore a big coat and it was a mistake.
As I came out of the ground, because it was such a warm evening, I got Summer Dreams from the Grease soundtrack stuck in my head. So all the walk from the West Stand to here, I was going, well, boom.
Good. It's a good song.
It is a great song, and it's a good song for tonight. So that's good. I wonder, Javi Gracia could be, he could take over from John Travolta in that, couldn't he?
Well, it's funny you should say that because he's just been speaking to the press.
What, did he sing?
Tell me more.
Did he? Did he come out in a leather jacket with a big quiff?
Unfortunately, he left that behind tonight, but he did mention that the protagonists are the players, which is quite insightful.
I've got a feeling he just desperately wants people to leave him alone, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He just is like, it's good.
Who was good tonight? Them.
Yeah.
Footballers.
He says, I do my job. So everyone else has done theirs. It's good, isn't it?
It's nice to have a modest fellow and just who knows what he's... I'm even reassured just seeing Scoobs in the dugout. Just having... He seems like a regular fella. Just normal.
A normal guy. Just one normal guy.
Well, a bunch of normal guys. And even... we've got one of Gracia's coaches has got a lot of white hair. He's got a bit of a Manuel Pellegrini look. And he went over to Nyonto and Somerville as they were trotting around at the end. And he kind of grabbed them both by the shoulders and was shaking them a little bit and pushing them about. Oh, you little kids. And they seemed really happy about it. So they all are enjoying what they're doing. And, who'd have thought, well, I don't know. Did we think losing 4-1 to Arsenal... And then, because we knew we'd lose, but then coming here to this, that it was just going to end up feeling good.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
Well, this week has been sort of trailed and amped up as the tension and tenseness all combined, and losing to Arsenal. Obviously, you kick it off with a 4-1 defeat when. It was pretty bad to watch in the second half. To go from that to then it could have been awful. I was thinking, I saw the betting before the game, and that Forest were 4-1 to win. I was thinking, they can't be that bad, and we can't be that good, because I've not seen us be that good, and I've only seen them play. I mean, I saw them playing against Everton. And you're like, oh, they can nick a result and be horrible to you. They've got John Joe Shelby who'll score a hat-trick. Brennan Johnson's good. And then yet now I feel like the Conference League is on.
What are we? Still a fair distance off. But you never know. I'm more than happy with 13th, I have to say. It's a very strange league, though, isn't it? Jesus Christ. It's Palace on 30 points and down to Bournemouth on 27.
And what I was saying, I'm sure this was on the other podcast the other week, is starting to come true. So we beat Nottingham Forest. We'll beat Roy Hodgson's all-action, all-out attack Crystal Palace team because Zaha won't be there. So then that's 2 wins in a row. Who are we playing next? Liverpool. Dreadful team. So we win them. 3 in a row. Who's after that? Fulham?
Yes.
They won't have Mitrovic, so that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
Who's after that?
There's Man City in there somewhere. We'll have a draw in that one.
Okay.
Take a draw.
But this is why I feel like Conference League is on.
By the time we play Man City, the league will probably be out of reach for them. So they'll be resting players in the Premier League.
Yeah, they'll play Phillips, won't they? So they'll be terrible.
Yeah, they'll play our formerly best player to rest the good players for the Champions League. And that'll be good. And by the time we play them, Javi will have gone full. He'll have undergone the Olivia Newton-John transformation and be in leather trousers and have an attitude, which I'm looking forward to enormously.
Who's he duetting with in this scenario?
Who's what, sorry?
Who's he duetting with?
Scoobs.
Oh, Pat Bamford.
No, maybe. Do you think he can sing? I mean, he can play the guitar. I don't think he can sing.
I don't see him as much of a dancer either.
I don't think you need to sing. I think you just need to give it a bit of welly.
Yeah, he can probably. You'd pick Bamford's voice out in his weedy little whine in the back. You wouldn't if you're picking what
A really reedy, warbly little voice.
What was the gang called in Greece?
T-Birds.
If you're picking a bunch of T-Birds, you're not letting Bamford join in here.
It's funny, a podcast I was listening to this morning was talking about Greece, so I feel like
It's highly relevant.
I've thankfully refreshed my knowledge on it in this morning. It feels like it was revision for you. Walla umping your way down the low fields.
What else?
Oh, I don't know. I did make some notes.
What about the ref? Rob Jones.
He didn't seem to want to book anyone, did he, for ages?
No. If only. Do you think if he'd let Rodrigo run through?
That was annoying.
Their half, yeah. I think I did see a theory being proposed that he didn't want. Who was it that? Was it Rocker had been fouled by Johnson or somebody like that? That he didn't want that to turn into a fight. So it was like, I need to stop them scrapping. So we lose a goal. Well, it wasn't a goal. I mean, Rodrigo running through. Would we have scored? Nah. We didn't need to. We'd scored enough. We'd scored 2.
Yeah. People in the YouTube comments are asking why I've got red knuckles, apparently.
Were you punching things?
Of course I was.
What were you punching?
Anything in sight. It's probably a rash picked up from the cop toilets. I think I'm just hot.
You've there was congratulations for your campaign earlier on.
Oh, I saw they put hand dryers in the women's toilets, haven't they?
Apparently so, and it's all down to apparently each one. The button has your face on it, so you press that, and you have to give thanks to you for your dry hands.
Who knows? Maybe the children will have something other than old saucepans to play with at the crash. The cable-tied colanders.
That's the next thing is they might get an effigy of you,
Christ.
like a piñata. The Michael Norman.
I pictured it as just my head as well.
Yeah.
Loads of angry kids just whacking away at him. Well, that's something.
How are the facilities in the East Upper?
I couldn't see the time, which is frustrating. In terms of the facilities, I believe the hand dryers were functioning, but there are no mirrors.
It sounds to me like you didn't wash your hands.
I believe
they were functioning.
I heard some whooshing sound in the distance as I shook the piss off of my claws.
No, it was very neat and tidy up there actually.
Oh, okay.
This evening.
Good.
Apart from the pissy hands, of course.
The scoreboard did seem to have a lot of adverts on tonight. I felt like I was constantly wanting to see the time, and there was just an advert for Bet365 on there.
Yeah, and the clock went off altogether at one point. It just wasn't there for about 10 minutes, which was quite frustrating. We need to know what's happening. We need as much information as possible.
Obviously, when the Astonish adverts were on, I was giving those a little round of applause. And the Boost ones, because they've sent me some freebies. I mean, I just like them.
And there was all that, and obviously turning the backs for Chris and Kev happened as well. So it feels like there was a lot of kind of significant stuff going down. Just like a big night, a big warm night. Floodlights, Tuesday. Nottingham Forest, who have been dreadful to us at times. The 7-3 is still a haunting. You're writing about the 7-3 for the next magazine, aren't you?
Yes.
So you've recently relived. How did tonight compare to your recent rewatching of the 7-3 defeat in the Warnock years?
It wasn't quite as exciting.
Mm-hmm.
See, it was a slightly better Leeds performance.
Did you miss Gareth McCleary and Dexter Blackstock?
God, I was just trying to think who it was who scored the goals. God, what a bad time.
Did you wish they were out there?
A little bit. It is a great game.
It is.
Michael Brown scored a good goal in that game, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think. He scored the equaliser, didn't he?
Yeah,
how bad
big
we
hoof
were.
from the end.
It's on. Oh, no, I think they were scored like 3 in about 5 minutes after that, didn't they? Anyway, look forward to reading about that. We should do a guide to it as well at some point. If I
Yeah. Well, there's a
Bear to
theme in
watch
the
it.
next issue is like chaotic matches, which was inspired by the Wolves game, but then Gracia seems determined to put a stop to all of this.
I like it, I have to say.
Yeah, we like it, but then we'll get to like November next season and we'll be 10th. And
Oh,
we'll be like,
it'll be terrible next year.
2-1 win.
I would have liked a bit more chaos this evening. It felt a little bit too controlled.
What's wrong with you?
No, I was quite happy with that.
It was plenty chaotic. Like, it was just Forest constantly letting themselves down. A good long throw. They did have a few scrambles in our penalty area, but even then, Brendan Johnson's supposed to be good, and they were like, had an attacking move, and he just A-lings the ball over the touchline. It just rolls under his foot, and it's like, why are you all so bad? We paid to see 2 teams. So I guess maybe that's where the chaos could have been added, is we've seen a worthy opponent, but it seems that there isn't a team in the Premier League that can face up to the mighty Leeds United.
I mean, Arsenal did beat us in the last few days. But apart from them...
What have they done since then? We've gone and won.
We have.
We've added 3 more points to the Premier League.
Gracia has just...
table.
He has just done well in the games we had to win, hasn't he? Southampton at home, Forest at home. That feels like where we let ourselves down earlier in the season. I know there was the kind of the glorious wins against Chelsea and Liverpool, although it turns out they're both shit anyway. But it was the games where at Palace away, failing to beat Southampton, having been 2-0 up. It just feels like we've got someone who's quite normal in charge and will set us up to win against teams that we're better than. And I think we are better than Forest. And
You think?
well, the table ahead of tonight didn't suggest we were, but we are better than them.
By how many chasms?
I don't.
If you had to count them.
Is it? Can you do multiple chasms, or can it just be one big one?
I think it would be multiple.
I don't think you say the chasms apart. It says the gap, and there's an almighty chasms. You don't say that, do you? There's the Leeds 7 Southampton
There's
0.
an almighty number of chasms.
Okay, I'll let you have your multiple chasms. That sounded like multiple orgasms. Apologies for that.
Do we?
I don't want you to have them.
Do we need to stop soon?
I suppose we probably should.
Yeah, I reckon
Ah.
so. On that beautiful thought.
I'll leave you to have
Yes.
the rest of the evening to yourself.
Yeah.
See how
We
you get on.
Everybody can
Take care.
rest easy thinking about
Dry your
Michael's beautiful orgasms,
My red knuckles.
multiple orgasms with his red knuckles. It's either a symptom or a consequence.
Great.
And at least you haven't got piss on them.
Nope. Nope. It's good that we've Flora's just getting going with this, and we've established her as being someone who has piss on her hands. I'm sure that as a first impression won't stick at all and haunt her for the rest of her days.
No, but we will be back on the podcast with pissy hands at some point, won't we?
Yeah. We'll fully swab her down next time. De-louser. It'll be fine.
Thanks for standing in. You've done a good job.
Cheers. Well, thanks for this, I guess.
The opportunity.
The opportunity to have baseless allegations thrown at you.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everyone.
It's nice to win, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
fucking great.
It's all right. We'll do some more celebrating on the Phil Shea Ho later this week.
Shay ho!
Cool. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye.